Aloha! You are listening to Inside the Desert Oasis Room, episode number 132. This episode is sponsored by Tiki-Ti Rum, the world's largest rum producer and winner of over 170 international medals in the past 4 decades. Check out their webpage at tandawaiusa.com or follow them on Facebook or Instagram at tandawaiusa. This episode is sponsored by the Tiki Bar T-Shirt Club, where their monthly T-shirt designs pay tribute to a Polynesian bar or restaurant from days long past. Each design is available for a limited time and will never be produced again. For more information and to check out this month's shirt, visit tikibartshirtclub.com. This podcast is also brought to you by Steadfast Pomade, a strong-holding, medium-bodied styling product for men and women, which leaves your hair looking slick, neat, and shiny with a clean, fresh scent. Order yours today at steadfastpomade.com. On this episode, we chat with Rina Bambina. Rina Bambina is a pinup and retro model from Germany who's traveled all around the world. I met Rina at the world-famous Tiki-Ti, and 2 weeks later, we recorded this episode after a photo shoot with pinup photographer Mitzi Co. inside the Desert Oasis Room. Hear how Rina got her start in pinup, and more interestingly, learn about what she does outside the world of pinup. It's sure to surprise and impress you. As always, I hope you enjoyed this episode as much as we did bringing it to you. And if you did, hit that subscribe button. Subscribing makes it easier for you to follow our adventures. Shares on your social media pages are always appreciated, and if you'd like to help support the show, go to desertoasisroom.com to pick up some merch or make a donation. This podcast does not survive without the help of its sponsors or its listeners, so every purchase or donation, no matter the size, is totally appreciated and helps keep this podcast coming to you every week. Okay, let's get into this. Give it up for pinup and retro model, the one and only Rina Bambina.
Inside the Desert Oasis Room.
Okay. We are rolling.
Okay.
So, I'm going to make you a drink.
Yes, please.
First drink of the day,
like
right?
That.
Okay, so let's see. Let me get my bearings straight. Every time I start from scratch, I have to think about what I'm doing. But
I'm very excited. I don't know what drink it will be, so it's a surprise.
We're going to find out here. Okay, here we go. And for all our listeners, please welcome our friend from Germany, Miss Rina Bambina.
Aloha.
Should I have said your real name?
Oh no, Rina Bambina.
Like Rina
just
Bambina.
Fine.
Okay. We just actually wrapped up a shoot here with Mitzi Company in the Desert Oasis Room. I'm really excited to see these photographs because they looked incredible as they were happening.
I mean, it is such a great location. Every corner of this room looks so
thank you. That's so nice of you to say.
And different.
Can I ask you, how did you get started doing the pinup thing?
Yes, I guess it was about 8 years ago. Oh my God, time is flying.
Wow.
8 years ago. So my grandmother, she has a big wardrobe full of clothing.
Okay.
She made them by herself because she was a seamstress back in the days. And so she had this full closet full of pretty dresses, and she always wanted me to wear them. And I'm like, I don't know. I don't want to look like a grandma. But eventually I put them on, and they felt very comfortable, and I looked amazing. And that's how it all started. I began taking pictures with friends in the beginning, but I really liked how I looked and how I felt.
Did you know about pinup culture, though, at the time that you started?
Not really. I didn't have any friends in the culture at all, which was very strange. So it was really, for me, first the fashion, and then it started, I started going to concerts, I met people, I started listening to rock and roll music, I started to dance a little bit, not very good, but I do it anyway. And yeah, that's how it all started. And I started to travel. And yeah, every time I travel, my circle of friends gets bigger and bigger. And I do more and more photo shoots. I do more and more of what I love. And it's great.
Okay.
I'm very grateful for that.
What surprised you most about pinup culture when you started to really get active in that?
It surprised me how big the variety is.
Mm-hmm.
Like how different the people are, although it is the same culture. I mean, you have so many little subcultures that are so interesting. You have the rockabilly, rockabella style that is more modern, maybe. And you have the true authentic vintage people. You have the tiki people. I see as a subculture still, or a little part of this whole culture, like pin-up tiki girls. I like that very much. You have the steampunk, for example, which is a bit different.
Too, really?
But I see a relation. Yes, we have that. And recently I get more and more into the Japanese culture. They have the Lolita style, for example. I find a little bit of pin-up in there too.
Really?
So everywhere you see, you can see a little bit of pin-up here and there.
Okay.
So yeah, it's really, and it's about the people, right? It's about the people that make the
That's
whole scene.
what it is in every subculture that we follow, right? It's always about the people, because it almost becomes second, right, with the subculture that we follow. So whatever it is. So I'm a tiki person.
Yeah.
And of course, what I enjoy is the tiki events, the tiki collecting, the tiki bars. But I can't enjoy that without good friends, because if I'm by myself, it's nothing.
Yeah.
Right? So it really is the people. Yeah.
I really have to say, especially when I came here to California the first time, I had maybe one or two friends, and they introduced me to people of their friends, and so they became my friends. And every time I come here, I have more and more people to hang out with, and the people are very welcoming. The hospitality is great here, I really have to say.
That's
people
very
are
nice.
taking me to tiki bars, for example. My friend Didi Cupcake, she took me to Tiki-Ti.
I love Didi. Didi's our friend.
Yes,
Shout out to Didi.
Woo,
Hey Didi, how are you?
girl.
I hope you're
We love
listening.
you. Yeah, and she's the whole reason I am here today. So
Yeah.
this is like really amazing. You invited me here. We could do the photo shoot in your room.
So
which was amazing,
for our listeners, for a little bit of a background, I met Rina at Tiki-Ti. Tiki-Ti is my favorite bar, and you were a guest of Didi's that night.
Exactly.
And I had so much fun. It was so much fun that night.
Oh yes.
And again, it goes back to the example of it's the people, right? Because without the right people, the Tiki-Ti is just another bar, right? So yeah. So that's neat. Okay, so let me make sure I get my proportions right here. So can I tell you what we're going to drink now?
I'm really impressed.
Do you want to be?
I'm impressed how you can do multitasking, like mixing the drink and asking questions. And yeah,
that's very nice
very
of you to say.
impressive.
But the truth is, I'm really trying to concentrate on what you're saying while I'm doing this. Because
Oh my God, this drink will be.
I hope. So here we go.
No, it will be good.
We're going to shake this up and we're going to see
Okay.
how this comes out. Okay. Okay, this is one of my favorite drinks.
A very special experience for me.
Okay, here we go.
Let's see.
Have you been drinking in any home bars at all while you were out here?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Now that I think of it, There's always a first time.
Now, what is the tiki scene like in Germany, where you're from? Tell me more about that.
Well, I have to say, I come from a very small town in Germany, in a very small, unimportant state of Germany that no one even knows. But it's great, it's home and I love it. But there's no tiki culture whatsoever. There's no tiki bar, there aren't even any pin-up girls, I'm the only one. And but I did some research, and in the bigger cities you have tiki bars, you have tiki people. It's maybe a little bit more of a hidden culture still.
So how did you find tiki?
I found tiki here first.
In the United States. Okay.
Yes, I did. I went to Don the Beachcomber, for example, a couple of years back, I think, or was it last year, I believe. And I went to Tonga Hut in Palm Springs.
Okay.
So it's really here where I first encountered the tiki culture in general.
Okay. All right. So, what we are drinking. I like to call this the Desert Oasis Daiquiri. It's a riff on a pineapple daiquiri.
Ooh,
so
nice.
we are using the Plantation Pineapple Rum, which is one of my favorite rums. And the way that the rum is made is it's actually one of their, I hope I don't get this wrong, but it's one of their, I think, 3-star rums or something of that effect. And then they are actually putting the flesh of real pineapples inside the rum. And they're filtering it into the rum. So that's where it gets a pineapple flavor. So I hope you enjoy it. So I made an extra one for our friend Mitzi.
Great choice.
Mitzi's here.
Mitzi's here. She will prost with us. So cheers.
Cheers.
Say
Cheers.
prost.
Prost.
Here we go.
Okay.
Oh, very good job. Well done.
Thank you.
I'm a
Glad
pineapple
you like
girl.
it. Glad you like it.
Yes, I like the ananas.
I was a little bit nervous because I was trying to listen to you while I was making that. So
Good job.
earlier we were talking about our German friends, or my German friends, I should say. I know so many Germans that are into the tiki thing, which I find kind of. Should I say that that's unusual coming from Germany?
It is. It is.
Okay, so Sven Kirsten, who came here quite a while ago, probably in the 80s. He came here to the United States to go to art school, and he's the one who wrote the Book of Tiki.
Oh, really?
And then we have a friend, Jochen Hirschfeld, who created the DVD of Tiki. I met him probably about 15 years ago because he was creating this documentary after having gone through the South Pacific, Hawaii and Tahiti and the Marquesas and all of those islands.
Wow.
He thought, I want to do a documentary on Tiki. And then he came to the States to go to all the different Tiki bars and all the old restaurants and talk to the people in the Tiki community, interviewed them for this documentary. And then recently I did a podcast with Dirk Balau and Stefan,
my friend Dirk.
Stefan Imke. Okay,
Yeah,
so you
I
know
know
them.
Dirk. Oh
okay,
my
so you know
God,
Dirk.
yes.
So
Small world.
Dirk and Stefan have been on the podcast, and they filmed our podcast for their new documentary, their new movie.
Yes.
I think they're calling it Squeezed Up. So they're
now that I know where to look, then you can really find the people in Germany.
So I guess that is.
I like that.
So, like I said, I thought that was unusual that Tiki culture has really permeated all the way to Germany, and all of these people that I know they're all such good friends of mine now. They come to the States all the time for the Tiki stuff, right? The Tiki events, Tiki Oasis, and other things that are happening out here.
Well, that's the thing about Germans in general. We love to travel. We love to cultivate ourselves and dive into different worlds. That's really what we are all about. We love meeting people. I can speak for myself. And maybe that's the connection right here. Because yes, Tiki in Germany is a little bit more hidden because Germany is so far away from Hawaii.
Yeah.
And I told you that Hawaii, for us Germans, like this paradise that is unreachable, that is so far away. But that's why we want to go out and explore, and we come here.
You want to create your own paradise too, because if you can't go there,
no, Germany's so cold. we need more of this tropical world.
Are there any Tiki bars or anything in Germany?
I think in the big cities. I did some research, and we have a Tiki bar in Nuremberg and in Berlin. I've never been, like I said, but they are there. You have to know where to look, and you can find it.
Okay.
So I will do when I get home.
I need
Germany,
to go out there.
I do a Tiki tour. Yes.
There's
Tiki
a Trader
road trip.
Vic's in Munich. Did you know
in
that?
Munich? No, I didn't know.
Are you close to Munich?
Not really.
Okay.
Like I said, I live far away from almost everything. But like I said, I always love to travel. So I travel for cocktails.
So Sven actually travels to Munich every year because he actually works there even though he lives here. And then my friend Jochen, who did the DVD of Tiki, is from Munich. And I keep saying that one of these days I'm going to go there and hopefully they'll give me a tour of Munich.
Oh yes, you should come. Like Bavaria is very beautiful. Unusual. I wouldn't have thought that Tiki is in Bavaria really, because if you think of Bavaria, you think of like the dirndl and the beer and the brezel and stuff like that. But why not Tiki?
Let's talk about the beer since you said beer.
Yes. That was the good
Germany
cue,
is known for their beers.
Oh yes, we are.
What do you think of the beer here? Just be honest.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry, but I have to say, no. I mean,
when you start with the apology, then I think I know what the answer is.
No.
That's okay. You can say that you don't like the beer here.
Yes.
So
I have to say it is a bit weak, But
Yes, no flavor.
Yes.
Is it
but
because there's no
there.
flavor, not because it's weak in alcohol?
Yes, I would
strength,
say
or both?
that. Yeah, a little bit of both, I would say. But I have to say that you are getting there.
Getting better?
Yes. There are more and more bars that I noticed that carry a lot, like a big variety of beer. And I find a lot of Belgian beer here in the US and also German beer. It's getting more and more.
Okay.
Yeah, I think...
Do you drink beer?
Oh, yes, I do.
What's your favorite?
Oh my god, that is such a hard question.
Oh, really?
Yes, it is, because it depends on the situation, really. When I go to Hamburg, for example, I enjoy a very good Astra. I enjoy the Berliner Kindle when I'm in Berlin. When I'm back home, I have to say, after a hard day of work, I enjoy a great Hefeweizen. That is the best. It's so refreshing.
So is that how you say that? I'm saying it wrong then.
How do you say it?
Hefeweizen.
Oh, it's not
It's
too bad.
Hefeweizen.
It's Hefe. Hefeweizen.
Okay. I'm gonna have to correct myself the next time that I order
Oh, I
one.
will teach you a little bit before you come to Germany,
Okay,
right? Is that
okay.
a good deal?
So can we get any of those beers here that you like?
Yes, you can. They are available at some liquor stores and at some bars.
Okay. Because I want to try them.
I can give you a list. I already know where.
Just text it to me. But the thing too is that I'm curious about is, so for example, Coca-Cola, they changed the flavor of Coca-Cola across the world to adjust it to the palate of the market that they're trying to sell it in, right? So the Coca-Cola in the United States is different from the Coca-Cola in South America.
Well, yes, and different from the ones in Germany because there are some ingredients that are not allowed.
So do they do the same thing with the beer? So if you gave me a list of those beers and I tried to get it here, would it be the same?
It would be the same because in Germany we also have the Reinheitsgebot, which means there's a certain way, a certain rule how to brew the beer, and it's always the same. That's so German, I know. But we have these rules, and that when you go into a bar or a liquor store and you buy German beer, it's authentic German beer.
Okay.
It's like that in Germany too.
Okay. All right.
Can
so
trust me.
I'm gonna give that yes.
I am.
Let's talk about, and I hope it's okay to talk about this. Let's talk about what you do outside of pinup.
Absolutely.
Because I find that fascinating. You know, the thing is, in this tiki world that I'm in, and I'm sure it's the same in the world that you're in with pinup and vintage scene, is sometimes we forget what some people do outside of what we know them as.
Yes. Most of the time we see a persona,
yes,
which is like Rina Bambina for me. But
right. So let's surprise everybody by telling them what you do outside of pinup.
Okay, so when I am not Rina Bambina, I am actually Dr. Katharina Stenger. So I am a doctor, I'm a psychologist. I graduated in neuroscience, so I'm still a scientist. I am.
Wow.
And yeah, it's very different. It's quite a contrast to my colorful pinup life.
What does a typical day look like for you when you're doing your scientist work?
Well, I used to work in a lab, like really going into a lab, and I did EEG, so putting little caps on people's head with electrodes on it, and then I studied the brain waves, and I wrote a book about it.
Oh, really?
Yes, my dissertation. So it's out there in the public. You can read it. It's it's in English even. But
so what are you studying when you say you're studying brainwaves?
I'm studying the brain, how it is still capable to learn even at an old age. That's what I did when I was at university. So, but what I wanted to do right now is a different kind of science. So I try to combine my two passions: science, psychology, and photography, and being a model. So I try to combine this, and I want to do another study. I want to really educate myself about the psychological processes during a photo shoot, and what does it mean to be a model?
Okay.
How does it put an impact on your self-confidence, for example, or on your personality and your identity? I'm very interested in that.
Oh, I think that's a huge impact on your self-confidence.
It does. Yeah. I mean, I see it in myself.
Yeah.
And so I want to do some interviews with models, and I want to get to know what kind of processes are standing behind that. How do you develop your own personality, and maybe how can you use a photo shoot to escape maybe real life, because photo shoots are sometimes very colorful and very different from what you usually do in your everyday life, like I do. Or you can use a photo shoot also to get to know yourself and your own body. So I find this very interesting, and I want to. I'm even thinking about doing some kind of therapy in front of the camera, maybe in a couple of years. Who knows?
Okay. Oh, that's interesting. That's neat. So, speaking about brainwaves, when I was a young man, which I'm not anymore, but when I was a young guy, and one of my pickup lines when I was meeting girls was, "Did you know that every time you learn something new, you get a new wrinkle in your brain?"
Wow, you would have got me with that.
And then, so like they would say, "Oh yeah," then I'd say, "Yeah, did you feel it? Did you feel it?" Because they learned something new by that, right? And then I came across a student who studied. I guess she was a biology student. She's like, "Well, kind of. You get a new neural pathway, not really a wrinkle, but they call it a neural pathway."
Yes.
So I was stood corrected on that. Then, so I replied, "Well, do you know anything else that named itself?" Because it took a brain to name itself a brain, right?
Yeah.
Someone had to think of the name, right? So,
True.
And that stopped her in her tracks, but didn't get me anywhere.
But that's well, you tried. But that's how you got to know the beauty of the brain, because it is really, the brain is such an interesting thing that.
So you've probably learned all kinds of things that the average person doesn't know, because we're still learning a lot of things about the human brain, right? Yeah.
There's still so much mystery.
Right. So, at the risk of boring our listeners, it fascinates me. So tell me something that you think that one of us would find interesting that we probably don't know.
Like in my studies, for example, when you are in an older age, you usually say that, okay, you can't learn anything new. It's very hard for you, right? So all the connections in the brain are already hardwired. But that is not true. I found out that even in an old age, when you are able to train the brain in a specific way, you can still see a difference, for example, in the brain waves and even in the structure of the brain. So even at an old age, you are capable to learn new things. It's maybe a little bit harder, and you have to be more specific about the way you train your brain, but it's still possible.
So the saying "you can't teach an old dog new tricks" is not really accurate.
True.
Okay.
And I hear a lot of people saying, "Oh, I'm too old for this," and this is just not true anymore. No, you are not.
What do you know about memory? Let me ask you about that.
I know a little bit
and
about
that's
it.
part of what you've studied, right?
Yes. I mean, it's
Because I can think back to, and I'll throw my age out there. Everybody's heard me say my age. I'm 50
it's such
years
a number.
old.
It's such.
Yeah,
it's only a number.
Right? Yeah, I'm 50 years old. I drink like I'm 21. And
it's how old you feel, huh?
Right. But my earliest memory is I remember laying on a changing table and getting my diaper changed by my dad's sister, my aunt. And I remember when she pulled the diaper off, when she tucked the clean diaper underneath me and put the baby powder on me, I remember how refreshing it felt.
Okay, so it's more a feeling that you remember, right? It's not really an image,
Yeah, you're right. It's more of the feeling that I remember, not so much the image, but I do remember that happening.
Yeah.
And I find it unusual that I remember something as far ago as that, but I don't remember a lot of other things from my youth. I do remember, when I was maybe 2 years old playing with these little Hot Wheels cars. I was in my grandparents' house and they had a hardwood floor and I was pushing them really, because they were going so fast on this hardwood floor. And I remember putting my face down on the floor so that I could watch the cars, roll on the floor. But then most of my childhood, I don't remember. And then I saw a program about these people that have these super memories.
Yes.
That can recall a specific date.
Yeah.
Like if you give them a date and time, they can tell you what they were doing that day. So what do you know about that? Is that something we're still learning about?
Yes, we are. It's, you have these kind of, I would say if you can remember everything, it must be very hard on the brain. So it is, how do you say? It's not normal really for the brain to remember everything because it would be too much for it. We only have a limited capacity of memories that we can have in the brain. So that's why people who have this memory of really literally everything, they have a hard time, for example, socializing with people because it's just too much. Or when they go out and they hear noises or they hear loud talking, they have a problem with filtering out. And that is really what the healthy brain is doing. It's filtering our memories, and those memories that are, for example, repeated lots of times, or a certain feeling that you enjoy, and then the connections in the brain, they get stronger, and this memory builds up, and you keep this memory.
So is there any truth to the theory that your brain can only hold so much memory?
Yes.
There is.
But it is, I have to say, it is the working memory in general. So working memory is that like a short-term memory. That is limited. But long-term memory, you can gather more information, of course. The more you learn, the more you can keep in your brain too.
Sure.
But you have to rehearse. If you don't use it, you lose it. That's how we say.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
At this moment, I'd like to remind our listeners that you're listening to a pinup model.
Yes.
Speak about the brain. You mentioned to me earlier that you're going to be traveling to Tokyo soon. Mm-hmm. So I want to talk about that because I love Japanese culture. Mm-hmm. So
me too.
Everything that they do just seems so much cooler to me, right? So they have their own hot rod scene. They have their own rockabillys. They have their own tiki scene. And they copy these things. I don't know if copy is the right word. Yeah, copy maybe is the right word.
I mean, they didn't have that back in the day.
They didn't. So they pulled this from American culture, right?
Exactly.
So I was at a car show here, actually near Mitzi's house, which is at the Fairplex. Mm-hmm. And they do, I think it's like every 5 weeks, they do this custom car show and swap meet with hot rods.
Oh, yeah, Pomona swap meet.
Yeah, the Pomona swap meet. And there was a lowrider there. It was a 1964 Chevy Impala that had the Dayton wheel, the wire wheels, and the hydraulic suspension. And there were two Latino gentlemen that were playing with the controls and making this car bounce and dance around. And they were playing Debbie Deb, this freestyle artist from the 80s. And it was cool. It gathered a crowd. There's a big circle of people watching this. And there were two Japanese fellows that were dressed up like they were, urban Latinos from Southern California. They were videotaping it. And after this whole spectacle was over, they walked over to these two Latino gentlemen that were playing around with the controls and controlling this car, and they started negotiating the price of that car. And those guys were from Japan. Mm-hmm. They bought it from they bought it to put onto a ship to take to Japan, which apparently is a popular thing. There's a lot of American culture going there.
Mitzi and I, we were riding in a classic car in Japan, which is very unusual because they have the steering wheel on the other side. They drive on the other side of the road too in Japan, which was so odd to drive in an American car there.
Yeah.
But yeah, they do that.
Oh, that's interesting.
They have a lot of garages there, and the people are very dedicated, and I love how respectful the people are to the whole culture, to a car in general. It's like they are in a relationship with the car. Yeah,
very respectful. We talked about that earlier, that if they're at a comedy show, they won't laugh because they think it's being rude, but they will clap at the end of the show.
Imagine that, right?
Right. So it is kind of weird. What's gonna bring you guys to Japan?
Yes, we are going to the Moon Ice show in Yokohama in December.
Okay.
And so Mitzi and Psycho Apparel, they are hosting a pin-up contest there. It's the second time. This time we did it last year for the very first time. I was very honored to host it, and I will host it again this year because they loved it.
Very nice.
And so we want to bring people from Japan and also people from all over the world together, bring pinup girls together, bring them on stage, show them, be confident, and do a little.
When you travel for pinup, do you see a lot of the same people where you travel?
Yes. I have to say, it's. Like
so you
Viva,
have friends all over the world, right? Like Viva, everyone comes out for Viva.
It's a family meeting for me. It's for me the big chance really to see almost everybody.
Are there events like that around the world similar to you? Okay.
Spain, for example, has a very big rockabilly scene. Like imagine laying on the beach and listen to rockabilly music, to live music and have a cocktail in your hand. Yeah, that's like the Viva of Spain.
So that's neat. So then everywhere you go when you're traveling for pinup, you're familiar with faces. You have friends there.
Yes, I do. And every time it gets more and more.
Do you have a favorite place you like to go to?
Oh, not really. I can't say.
Okay.
In general, I like the US, of course. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here like 2 times a year.
That's okay. We like it when you're here 2 times a year.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I love California. I really do. I love Japan very much, and otherwise, but there are many more places that I want to visit. For example, Hawaii is still on my list.
Yeah.
I really should go to Hawaii.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about that now. I want to transition to some fun questions because we know that you're a beautiful pinup, very successful in what you do. We know that you're a successful author, that you are a scientist and doctor. But what we want to know is the real Rina Bambina. Mm-hmm. Okay, so I'm going to ask you a couple fun questions. If you could travel anywhere in time, when would you travel?
I would probably travel to the year of 1989. It's my birth year, but it's also a very important year for Germany because the wall came down in that year.
I remember when that came down.
Yes, every time I see footage of that, I cry. Always.
Okay.
Yes, it's tears of joy. And I would love to travel to this occasion back in time and see that.
Okay.
And see people uniting together.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, I would say my second favorite time would probably be the future.
Okay, what part of the future? And why?
I would say maybe just, how do you say? Like, maybe 50 years? Maybe 50 years, just to check it out.
Just out of curiosity.
Yeah,
Would you look yourself up?
Yes, totally. That's what we are. Like, hey, I'm Rina from the future. Stop doing that. Stop drinking so much beer. It's not good for you.
Are you sure you want to see what you're going to be like in 50 years? I'm not going to be alive, I don't think. If I am, I'll be lucky, but I don't think I'll be alive in 50 years. But I don't know if I want to see myself at 10 years. So.
Yeah, right?
Right? Okay, let's do a second fun question.
Mm-hmm.
If you could meet anyone, real or fictitious, dead or alive, who would that be?
Oh, yeah. Let me see. That is a good one. I think I would love to meet Freddie Mercury. I'm a big fan of Queen, sorry.
Okay.
Yeah. I would love to see him because he's such an inspiring and weird person. I don't know. Yeah, I would really love to have met him.
Okay.
Back in the days.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've thought about this many times.
Mm-hmm.
The safe answer or the answer that makes people always feel bad is I'd love to meet like a great grandfather.
Oh.
But then if I were being selfish, I'd love to meet Bruce Lee.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
So those are a couple answers. Mm-hmm. Okay, here's a fun one. If a movie were to be made of your life, who would you want to play you?
Oh, wow. Huh. Let me think about it. There's,
I always say The Rock because, we look the same. Right?
For me, you mean? No, I'm kidding.
For me.
No, I would go probably with some Hollywood actress. I'm thinking about...
And it doesn't have to be a modern-day actress. It
yes,
could be...
even if she doesn't really look like me, I think of Audrey Hepburn, just because I like her so much.
I could see that.
A little bit, right?
Yeah.
Because I was thinking about... I wore a dress the other day that was a true vintage dress, and it's called Audrey dress, and it was made for me. It looked so perfect, and I was thinking, she's also tiny, and she's very she's also a very grateful person as people portray her. So I think that her and I, maybe that could work.
Okay, I think that could work.
She would have to dye her hair red, but I mean,
no, but yeah, doable. I mean, but you can also, I think, as long as she can embody who you are, it doesn't have to be an exact physical.
Because she can be very elegant, but she can also be a little bit like girly and quirky and stuff like that. I see that,
right?
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay, and then so here's a fun question that some people don't like this question because they think it's too stupid, but I'm going to ask you, if you could have any superpower, what would you choose? So here's the one that I have picked. I'm going to give you my first answer. Mm-hmm. This will kind of help guide you. Because some people, they have a hard time thinking outside the box. They think, oh, maybe I want to fly, maybe I want to be invisible. I want to be able to eat whatever I want without getting fat. That's mine.
Oh, wow.
And then the second one, which a friend of mine
very
said,
good.
who travels a lot, said he'd like to teleport.
No, I already know the answer because
Okay.
I would love to speak every language.
Oh, that's a great
communicate with
answer.
everyone.
Yeah.
Because I love languages. I try to learn a little bit of Japanese when I go to Japan to at least do the small talk, and people are loving
Yeah,
when
yeah.
you are making an effort to speak language, but it's not really a communication.
So
right?
along that line, your English is excellent.
Thank
is
you.
Is English commonly spoken in Germany?
It is. When you go to Germany and you speak English, you will never get to learn German because we Germans we love to talk English.
Because all of my German Tiki friends speak perfect English.
Yes, we do. It's part of our education in school and also in university.
Okay. How different is German from Austrian?
Very.
Is it really?
Yeah. It is very. I mean, we can understand each other, but even within Germany, you
Is
have
it
so
like
many dialects.
Spanish and Italian? Or?
Oh, not. I wouldn't say not that far away, but maybe Spanish and Portuguese, maybe like that.
Okay.
You understand
so they are,
each other,
a
but
little
not
bit. Some
really.
words, yeah. Okay.
So that would be my answer. Yes, speak every language.
Yeah, I think that's a great answer. I might steal
Thank
that for a
you.
future
Thank you.
episode,
Yay.
by the way. I'll give you credit.
Woohoo!
Well, I just want to say thank you so much. Number 1, for being on the podcast. Number 2, for using the Desert Oasis Room for a photo shoot. And thank you to Mitzi. We have Mitzi here in the background. She's not mic'd, so we're waving at Mitzi. Thank you, Mitzi.
Yes, and
I
thank
can't
you
wait
for
to see
having
these
us.
photos. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I have to say, this is my very first podcast ever.
Is it really?
Never did it before, not even in Germany. This is my very
so
first
when
time.
you come back, you're going to come back in August, right?
I do.
We're going to record your
Yes.
second podcast
Oh,
ever.
yes, please. I
We're going to
would
do a
love
part
that.
2, and we're going to talk about what happened between now and then.
Oh,
How's
yes, we
that?
will look into the future.
We're going to look into the future.
Yes.
Yeah. Is there anything, before we wrap up, I want to make sure that people know who you are, and if you want to have followers on your Instagram, do you want to throw that out there?
Yes, of course. Thank you for the opportunity. Yes, of course. Please follow my adventures all over the world. You can do that on Instagram when you follow Bambina_Rina. And otherwise, if you are interested in my other life and being a doctor, I have another Instagram account. It's called Dr. Katharina Stenger. The two Instagram accounts are combined, so you will find me one way or another. But yeah, please feel free to talk to me about everything. I always have an open ear for you if you are interested in online counseling. That's what I do.
Okay.
So please shoot me a message.
Do you have a website you want
I
to put
have
up there?
a website. It's katharina-stenger.de.
Okay.
And yeah, you can contact me on every medium ever, whatever, and I will talk to you.
Very nice,
Yes.
very nice. Let's give a shout out to our friend Mitzi. Mitzi, what is your Instagram? Should we share that? Does she want to
Yes,
share
of
that?
course.
Okay.
Follow Mitzi Co. That is Mitzi's Instagram. And we also have a hashtag, which is hashtag Mitzi and Rina. If you want to see.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. If
I
you want to
didn't
see
know that.
all the good stuff.
Okay.
Yes. So this
So
is quite
I'm going to hashtag
new.
some of the photos that I took today.
And you can follow us on our adventures to Japan. We're going to Canada in August too.
Oh, very
we have
nice.
that, and we go to Bonneville.
Okay.
So yeah,
Bonneville,
follow
yeah,
us.
yeah. Very cool, very cool. Thanks again for being on the show.
Thank you so much for having
Thank
me.
you.
It was a pleasure.
And for all our listeners out there that want to make a shout out, that want to leave a comment, that want to ask a question, go to the group page on Facebook, Inside the Desert Oasis Room. You can follow us on Instagram at Polynesian Pop. And if you want to listen to previous episodes or try to get into a future episode, DesertOasisRoom.com. Send me a note. And I guess that's it.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
I say
Cheers.
Auf Wiedersehen.
Auf Wiedersehen.
And one more time. Prost.
Cheers. Prost.
Thank you.
Prost. Cheers and
Thank
aloha,
you.
everyone.